Hello there, fans of the Ultimate Universe. Troy to the max extreme here.
And Ultimate Ghost Hunter Day.
Oh, you're from the 1610? And we are IMPERIUS REX.
That's right. So, we are finally discussing one of our favorite things, the Ultimates.
Yes.
The Ultimate Universe as a whole, we both thoroughly enjoy. Got us kind of back into comics in like the 2000s, I'd say.
I would say that.
Good. We did one episode like 2 years back where we just tried to give an all-encompassing look at the Ultimate Universe.
Yeah.
So much to get into.
Yeah.
So we wanted to just kind of dig into some specifics here, and we're going to start with the Ultimates.
Yes.
Hot off Avengers Endgame.
Yes.
Which, wouldn't you know it, owes a lot to the Ultimate Universe
For
as a whole.
sure it does, yes. Have we done the opening credits yet?
Marvel's updated, modern retelling of the formation of the Avengers.
Yes.
Published in March 2002 as part of the Red Hot Ultimates imprint.
Yeah.
Which at that time consisted of Ultimate Spider-Man and Ultimate X-Men.
Yep.
And then Ultimate Fantastic Four followed after Ultimates.
It got so popular, it was outselling the 616 universe stuff.
Yeah.
So that the 616 just started picking all the things that kind of worked with it and just incorporated it into their...
Right, which led to the downfall of the Ultimate Universe. It was so successful that the regular, more established universe just was like, well, let's just bring that in here. Excuse me, I'm just gonna sneak in here.
To the point where they literally took the universe, which said they would never cross over.
Yeah.
And they eventually just folded everything in. Everything that you like? Oh, it's here now.
It's here now. So, the Ultimates. This was created by Mark Millar and Bryan Hitch.
Yep.
And this was a version of Marvel's greatest superheroes told through the lens of the current social and political landscape, where villains no longer wore capes or masks, but rather launched nuclear warheads and terrorist attacks. And the heroes, Troy, were not above kicking someone while they were down, or occasionally partaking in spousal abuse.
Yes.
In other words, it's Mark Millar at his Millariest.
Yes, it very much is. I actually have a quote from Bryan Hitch.
Go for it.
Bryan Hitch.
Get him on the horn.
Here we go. Hello, Bryan? Bryan Hitch. Oh, went into landscape mode. Bryan Hitch describes his Ultimates work as widescreen cinematic compositions and has expressed his interest of translating his work for movies. Which, the opening scene to Ultimates Volume 1... almost spot on, Saving Private Ryan.
Yes.
It is so well done.
Captain America leading the charge on Normandy.
Yes. This miniseries was affected by delays, and the artist admits to having to work hard to recover from reputation as a slow artist after his work from the first Ultimate series, stating, because I think people still think me now as an unreliable artist.
Yeah.
This
granted, took him forever.
Yes.
This had so many delays.
Especially near the end of Ultimates 2, where 12 and 13 had a year and a half delay or something like that.
Yeah.
Granted, I think this is Bryan Hitch at his best work. I was actually blown away when I dipped into Volume 1 again, and I'm like, this is... You don't see this now from him.
No, and you didn't see it before either. This was game-changing.
Yes.
I hate that phrase, but this was game-changing.
It really was, though, because from here on out, I think a lot of comics took this stand to be like, well, this photorealism thing is really where it's at.
Yeah.
And so now we have a ton of superstar artists that really kind of incorporate this high detail style, regardless if it's photorealistic or not. And they're highly applauded for it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Absolutely. And in his defense, he was on Authority prior to this. And he brought it in that too, but this was a lot more of a mainstream title.
Yes.
And I think they gave him a little bit more free reign on yeah, man, go cinematic.
Yeah.
And he did.
Yeah.
This is an amazing looking book.
Yes.
So the setup is, in response to Magneto's attack on the White House during Millar's Ultimate X-Men run prior to this, Nick Fury is tasked with assembling a national security team to combat super-powered threats should they arise.
Yeah.
He recruits prominent scientists to create enhanced super deterrents. Hank Pym, Janet Pym, and Bruce Banner is recruited to try to recreate the super soldier serum that created Captain America. He's also joined by Tony Stark, a billionaire futurist and raving drunk.
Yes.
And also attempts to recruit Thor, a new-aged, muscle-bound hippie who may or may not be the actual God of Thunder. They catch a lucky break when they recover the frozen body of Captain America. And a lot of the book is dedicated to kind of reacclimating Captain America with the current modern time.
There's almost like full-on issues where that's all they're doing.
Yeah. And he's like a big grump through a lot of this. It's not the Chris Evans Captain America.
No, it's not. A big criticism of like Millar's run in this is that it is highly cynical.
Yeah.
And yes, it's true, but I don't think it would, the Marvel Cinematic Universe would be as lifelike if it didn't pull a little bit from this.
Right.
Yeah, a lot of them are dicks in this, but I don't feel like it's out of reality.
No, it was a very cynical time when this came out.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
I feel like this is very much a product of the times.
Yeah.
Right down to Shannon Elizabeth in space.
Oh my God.
But,
if anything hurts it the most, it's the modern day references of 2002.
Yes. Yeah. Yep.
What do you mean Betty Ross is, or Betty Ross is on a date of Freddie Prinze Jr.?
Yes.
What?
Who they're constantly covering up his face with word balloons because I'm assuming he would not sign off on likeness rights.
Whatever.
Yeah, that hurts it. But with that out of the way, it is a great book.
Yes, I agree.
I really like the first arc is the formation of the team, and up until issue 5, they have nothing to do.
Right. Yeah.
They're this like $1 billion task force that has no threat.
Right.
And eventually, like, Bruce Banner is so, like, beaten down and depressed because everyone is just shitting all over him because he can't crack the super soldier serum that he, like, injects himself with it and transforms into the Hulk, and the Ultimates have to go and just fight him.
Yes. Like the bigger, stronger, hornier version of the Hulk.
Yes. Yeah. Yeah, that felt very out of place. Or very, like, right up Millar's alley. There are moments in this where it's like, I cannot believe Marvel let him do that. But at the same time, the Avengers title was not selling whatsoever to the point where they wouldn't call this Ultimate Avengers.
Right.
They didn't want the Avengers name in it. So they just said, call it Ultimates.
Oh, boy.
And yeah, they just said, like, do whatever. Like, no one cares about these characters. Captain America, Iron Man, Hulk.
Yeah.
Do whatever you want.
Because this is like the Bendis run of Avengers, where everybody was like, oh, okay, this is pretty good.
Yeah, it was New Avengers.
Yep.
Yeah. So, yeah, so the team, their first big mission is they have to stop their own team member, which becomes a regular reoccurring theme, but they have to go and stop the Hulk from rampaging in New York.
Right.
And he goes on, like, just a warpath and kills hundreds of people. And that is the tone of this book, where it's like, these are the heroes. Yeah. And you're supposed to, like, sympathize with Bruce Banner, and you kind of do, but, like, he is a horrible, horrible monster.
Yeah. The Hulk in this is, like, a legitimate monster. Like, a cannibalistic freak of nature.
Yes. Yep.
And I really liked that when I first read this through, because I'm like, oh, it makes really the Hulk like a big threat. Like it's an updated version from the 60s when he's like, he's kind of like a snarky asshole.
He's a misunderstood monster of a man.
But this one in like, it's, I hate saying post 9/11 world.
Oh yeah.
But like it is so fresh off that, where it's like real horrors like this exist. And like having something like that in the book, I think helped it.
Yes. This is probably the most post 9/11 superhero comic you could possibly create.
Yes. Yeah.
And I think it works in its favor. I think it's a very good book that deals with like the cultural fears in that time.
Yes.
So then the second arc of this deals with the underground reemergence of an alien race from Captain America's past, a shape-changing breed called the Chitauri, or the Skrulls, as they name drop just once and then never call them that again.
Oh, really? I missed that.
Yeah. Who influenced the Nazis and have been covertly working to overthrow the world. We're also introduced to a Black Ops team of Ultimates consisting of Scarlet Witch, Quicksilver, Black Widow, and Hawkeye. And we have 2 team members sidelined in this book. Banner, who's locked up after his Hulk escapade. And Hank Pym, who's hospitalized after Captain America beats his ass for nearly killing Janet Pym, his wife. In like a fit of rage. Once again, these are not good people.
No, but I do kind of like that they are taking, like Millar took from previous history and tweaked it to make it like a more horrifying version of itself.
Absolutely.
But like way back in, I think the 70s or 80s, with that panel where Yellow Jacket's backhanding the Wasp. It just like extrapolates from that tenfold.
Yeah, it's like Millar narrows his focus to the most controversial past actions of the Avengers history and makes his book around that.
Yeah, for sure. I don't hate that they turn... I'm not a big like Ant-Man, Giant Man fan. So, like, I don't hate that they kind of turned him into, like, a punching bag.
I thought that he was one of the most interesting characters in this book because he was someone that I love to hate.
Yes, exactly. I really like that
I just wanted more of him getting, like, the trials and tribulations of his downfall.
Yeah. He's so cocksure of himself that, like, even in a fight when he's Giant Man, Captain America still beats the piss out of him. And breaks his jaw or something like that.
And I don't think Giant Man ever does anything of value in this entire series.
Yeah, I don't know. Like, there's that stint where he joins the Defenders, who are just
Which is great. That's like an insult to injury. But in this arc, the Ultimates actually get to save the world. They don't fight one of their own teammates.
Nope.
They fend off the Chitauri invasion. And they earn that paycheck.
Boy, do they.
The
Hulk kind of gets the brunt end of the stick again, because they do, like... They actually take this scene from the Incredible Hulk where they push him out of a helicopter.
Oh, yeah.
And so he turns into the Hulk again to let him loose onto the Chitauri invasion, where he ends up eating Herr Kleiser.
And I love when the Hulk gets there and Captain America's been sparring with Kleiser this whole time, and he doesn't know how to beat him, and he's like, Hulk, that guy over there called you a sissy. And then Hulk just goes and just destroys him.
Eats the living shit out of him.
So after they fight off the Chitauri invasion, we roll into Ultimates 2.
Yes.
Just straight up Ultimates 2 is the title.
Right.
The sequel.
It's weird that this is the only Ultimate title that
does that.
Yeah. It's like, okay. Sure. Okay, go ahead.
I know.
It definitely makes it easier to pick out the bad one.
Really? You think? You think one's better than the other?
I was going further into the future when it gets to 3.
Oh, okay. Yes, I'm 100% on board. Absolutely. So, on the road to Ultimates 2, which shifts gears into a look at the Ultimates and the superpowered individuals as modern-day weapons of mass destruction.
Yeah.
So, as political as the book was in the initial 2 volumes, Ultimates 2 ups it tremendously. Yes, it does. Fury sends a team out to foreign soil, which sparks a political outrage, and then suddenly every country is developing their own Ultimates program, which sparks like a superpowered arms race across the globe.
I actually really like this idea, because at one point there's like a... kind of get your Captain Britain, and then you get like your Captain
Everyone
France.
Gets a captain.
Yeah. I really like that, actually.
Yeah, they like franchise the Captain brand.
Yeah.
Amidst this, a traitor is found lurking within the ranks of the Ultimates. Bruce Banner is outed as the Hulk, and he's tried for the murder of all the people that he killed in New York. And eventually executed.
executed.
Right. Found guilty and
Yes.
executed.
Yep.
Which I think is the first 3 issues of this arc, which is really, really good.
Yeah.
I think the way they unfolded that, it makes perfect sense in this logical, like, real world situation that they've created.
Yep.
We also have a gut-wrenching scene where Hawkeye is captured and his family is killed in front of his eyes. Remember that?
Been a rough day.
That was rough. I think that's the inspiration for Endgame. Hawkeye lives with his family there and just turned him into a wild card.
Dumping on Hawkeye.
Yeah. Yep. Even Thor is pushed into retaliation against the military police in Spain, I think, and then ordered to be taken down by his comrades. And this marks for the second time in 3 arcs that the Ultimates are just fighting themselves.
It really, I guess it kind of really follows suit that the next big hit that Millar has for Marvel after this is like Civil War.
Yeah.
Everyone fighting against
All
themselves.
he does is infighting.
But at the same time, those are the books that are highly popular.
Yeah.
So.
And, like, he's created a team of the most super-powered individuals in that universe. Like, who else would they fight? Like, who could put up a fight against these guys?
Yeah.
Meanwhile, Tony Stark falls in love with Black Widow against his better judgment.
Yeah.
And Thor's brother Loki makes his first appearance as the grand puppet master behind all these troubling events that have happened in this arc.
Yeah.
A lot of shit goes down in volume 3, I guess it is, of this run. So the final arc of the series finds the Ultimates at their lowest point. Captain America is imprisoned after the traitor pins the murder of Hawkeye's family on him. Black Widow is revealed to be the true traitor, working with a veritable axis of evil, which is superpowered analogs of the Ultimates created by foreign nations intent on overthrowing America's hold on the world and balancing the political scales.
Does Millar also do that in The Authority?
Yes. Yes, he did.
Is it the same kind of thing that he was
absolutely
doing?
did.
Okay, all right.
Yep. He's got a one note. So with this group of villains, we get ultimized iterations of Abomination, Crimson Dynamo, Swarm, and a couple other notable villains, along with a Middle Eastern version of Captain America, who started as a skinny but patriotic to his nation, young, like, teenager who is intent on stopping the foreign American invasion of his country. Which I thought was really a good spin on that.
Yeah.
The counterpoint to Captain America. And I don't think he is an analog for any pre-existing Marvel villain.
Not that I could think of.
He has a red helmet, so, like, the closest I could think of is, like, a really weird red skull. But I don't think so.
Nah, I don't think so.
He has a Darth Maul lightsaber, which is a little off-putting and a product of the times. But otherwise, like, I kind of dig that version. He's the opposite of Captain America with the exact same ideals, but for his own country.
Yeah. Oh, man. And then, especially with, like, the U.S. and, like, Muslim phobia.
Oh, yeah.
It definitely works in its favor.
Yeah, to the point where Captain America met him when they invaded their country and, like, got some hostages out and then, like, took over to, you know, spread democracy. And he sees that kid and he's like, get moving! And, like, that is that kid's only encounter with Captain America.
Yeah.
He's like, what a fucking dick!
Yeah.
He
Yeah.
just comes over and orders everyone around. Like, you totally get it.
Yeah.
Like, there is definitely a critique on the American military superiority complex in this book.
For sure. I was going to say maybe it's better told that an American didn't write it, because, like, you get to see, like, an outsider's perspective.
Yeah.
But I don't know.
Who knows?
That's just an opinion.
And this character, this anti-Captain America guy, has a big W on his chest. And I have no idea what that stands for. Because they call their team the Liberators.
I couldn't tell you.
I have no idea. Light up the comments. I'm curious. If he's supposed to be a representation of anybody, or what the hell the W's for.
Maybe he has, like, a speech impediment like my little brother had, so it's the Wibblewaiters.
That's it.
That's gotta be the only reason.
Cracked it. So these guys, the
Yeah.
Liberators, they overthrow America, instantly shutting down every superhero in the area.
Mm-hmm.
But it isn't long before the Ultimates rally, get to their avenging, and just fight back.
Mm-hmm.
So all the heroes have their moment to shine, which is really great. Banner, Hulk, reappears, having survived the nuclear blast that he was executed under.
Yeah.
Tony one-ups Black Widow and then takes off into space where he has just this, like, state-sized Iron Man armor floating above above the world, and he's just sitting up there drinking and firing down from space, which is great. Thor ends up coming back and really going headfirst into that godhood, which I feel is the book's biggest misstep. Because he comes head-to-head with Loki, who unleashes, like, this army of trolls and, like, orcs and all these guys.
Yeah.
And then Thor brings in the Rainbow Bridge and all these Norse warriors, and you get this 8-page spread of all the heroes fighting, and it's this amazing artwork, but I feel like it's so out of place in this book.
I still like it. That 8-page spread is amazing. I remember the first time I saw it, and you just keep folding it out.
Yeah, you're like, it keeps going?
No wonder it took him a year and a half to do this.
Absolutely.
I don't know. I don't know if I share that sentiment so much, because it's like a big, grand conclusion to what they were going for.
It definitely sets the stage for what could come next, which the ball is completely dropped, and maybe that'll be a future episode. But at this point, Thor is absolutely the god of thunder. So America defeats the foreign invaders, while the majority of the Ultimates then resign from S.H.I.E.L.D. and decide to work independently under Stark. He's going to, like, lead the crew. He's going to finance it. And that way it also frees them up from being, like, tied to America. And, like,
oh, sure.
And then the final coda to this book is a flashback to a young Steve Rogers and his girlfriend, Gail, at the time. The night before he goes overseas to fight in the Great War, WW2. He promises Gail that he'll be back and that his effort in the war will put an end to the fighting, which is a little bittersweet hearing that, because not only does that not happen, his effort in the war absolutely attributes for what happens in modern day. Yeah. Because his presence sparks other nations to try to one-up that and follow suit.
Just by being alive, you're the biggest nuisance.
Yes, very much.
Oh, man. Yeah, I really... Overall, the Ultimates is great. Like, I'll still go down... As many people that kick on it the later on, like, it goes in time, you know? People like to dunk on it a little bit, saying that it's like mean-spirited. Which, yeah, some parts maybe it is. But I don't think without this that you would even have, like, the Marvel Cinematic Universe that you got today.
Absolutely not. No.
Some things are outdated. Maybe the Freddie Prinze Jr. Things in it, or the Shannon Elizabeth stuff.
Yeah.
That was definitely a product of the time.
But you think, like, what it brought to the table at that time. We have Samuel L. Jackson, Nick Fury. Yeah. Obviously a major takeaway. The Triskelion, their base of operations. The Helicarriers, I think, were right out of this. The Chitauri invasion is right out of this. They didn't exist before this book. Right. And the focus on Captain America is like a melancholy man out of time. I feel like was never really touched on in as much detail as this. As, like, he's always been that, but no one has, like, done, like, a focus on, like, he just doesn't fit in this modern world.
Yeah, I agree.
And then the formation of the Avengers themselves under S.H.I.E.L.D. Control is right out of this. Like, Nick Fury makes the Avengers, which is exactly what happens in the movie.
And then there are also, like, certain scenes that are, like, taken directly from this book. Like I said before, like, the Hulk getting pushed out of the helicopter, as he does in The Incredible Hulk. All in all, like, still, Ultimates, a great read. I would definitely pick up volumes 1 and 2 if you never have yet. Yeah. To just see how similar that your beloved MCU takes from this source material.
Yeah. It's a fun read, and the artwork is phenomenal. Yeah. Like, not only, like, the action scenes, but the slower character moments, and then the, like, the cityscapes and the locations are amazing. Yeah.
Yeah.
Like some of these like grand church scenes where they're doing funerals of everyone killed or eaten by the Hulk.
Yeah.
Like these establishing shots are just amazing.
Yeah.
And they must have taken just as long, if not longer, than, you know, these big action scenes. As a negative, I felt like the main villain being Loki by the end of this never really hit home with me. I thought the fact that he orchestrated this entire revolution just to kind of fuck with Thor seemed like kind of lackluster. Like, really? I would have rather him stayed out of it or just been a component of it and had it really be like the focus on the Liberators.
Okay.
Because I feel like that is way more in the book's theme and focus.
Yeah.
Of like America needing to be like contained.
Yeah.
Where Loki just like, he was this weird wild card.
Yeah. And I, just as an aside, I don't know if I'm like a huge fan of Loki just in general.
I am not.
I thought the best he ever was is in the MCU. And
even that I grew tired of very quickly.
Yeah. I know he's got like a ton of fanfare, but like I liked him in the Avengers.
Yeah.
And like every subsequent viewing of him, I'm just like, okay, everyone likes him, so that's why he's here.
Yep. Yeah. I feel like bringing him in and then having to actually reveal whether or not Thor was the god of thunder kind of killed a lot of the mystique surrounding Thor.
Yes.
And I think if you just kind of kept it more ambiguous, you could have stretched it on longer and been more interesting, because once you finally drop the hammer, so to speak, on whether or not Thor is a god, you're kind of left with like, okay, well now we just got to do Thor god stuff. You can't explore that, like, is he crazy? Because I think that's a way more interesting take on Thor.
Yeah, it was interesting, and it went on actually quite a long time.
Yeah, I mean, he's like a Whale Wars activist type of guy, and it's like, I like that idea of Thor.
And the point where he's actually confined to an insane asylum, because it's like, well, his belt makes him levitate.
Yeah.
And
the hammer gives him the power to control lightning.
Yeah. And so like all of these things are giving him reasons that like, yeah, maybe he is just a crazy asshole who has like this like access to the superpower technology.
Absolutely. And he's like having conversations with Volstagg and other like Norse gods, and then like he snaps out of it and he's in a restaurant talking to himself, and every diner around him is like staring at him, and the waiter's like, sir, you've been talking to yourself for 5 minutes.
Yeah.
I also love when they do have to take down Thor in this book, because I feel like one of my favorite characters in this is Quicksilver.
I really liked the ambiguousness
of whether or not he's actually helping or he's the most formidable Avenger.
Yes. I like that too. Well, like when he's like, well, I helped you out back there.
Yeah, you didn't see it. I like killed 17 guys around you.
Yeah, if you slow down the camera, you'd probably be able to see that I helped you out.
Yeah, and that was like an ongoing joke for a long stretch. And then when you finally see him like operate, you're like, oh, holy shit, this guy's good.
Yeah.
To the point where like all the Avengers or all the Ultimates are set to attack Thor, and Quicksilver keeps getting struck down by lightning, but he keeps getting up and going. And then finally at the very end, he's able to outrun it and pull Thor's belt off of him, and then get struck by lightning. But like he does the move that like is able to get them to be able to defeat him.
Yeah.
And then at the end they like go full into Quicksilver and his prowess, and he kills the Liberators version of him, like the speed runner there.
Yep.
By like running her so fast she just like disintegrates. And then in that 8-page spread, you see him peppered throughout it like 12 times because he's just everywhere.
Yeah.
You're like, man, he's single-handedly winning this fight. But also we had the Mark Millar gravitating towards the controversial, so he really leaned heavily into the weird incestuous relationship between Quicksilver and Scarlet Witch.
It was ambiguous.
Yes.
It could have turned out to be like, no, that's what you just insinuated.
Which it does in Ultimates 3.
It's full on, yes, they bang in Ultimates 3.
Yes.
And Wolverine watches.
Yes.
What the fuck?
Props to Millar for showing restraint compared to what comes next.
But, I mean, a great crutch already for this universe, too, is that they already have this established continuity that you can reference in 616. So he can really shorthand some of this stuff. and then distill it to its finest point.
Absolutely.
Where, like, I don't want to say it's, like, cheating, but, like, he has, like, an easier job of, like, retconning maybe 40 years of continuity to its best points.
Hank Pym beats his wife, makes Ultron. That's
Can grow sometimes.
I loved the look of Iron Man.
I love that it takes a team to put his suit on.
Yes, he has like a pit crew. And not only that, he has to be like greased up, loaded into it, and like launched out of like a launch pad.
Yeah.
I think that's so cool. He isn't the Robert Downey Jr. where you can just like press a button and have it come around him. It's this way more like realistic, tactile thing where like it is a pain in the ass to get into this thing.
Yeah.
And like he only has a charge for so long.
It's not like streamlined and polished and like super cool and super slick or anything. It's like this tank that he has to get into. I really like that a lot. And I think actually like that was an argument for like some of the things I don't like with Iron Man in the later MCU movies is that
just too
it becomes
fluid.
so slick that it's like it's not interesting. I like suitcase suit from Iron Man 2.
And then there's also one like tie-in issue, an annual with art by Steve Dillon that should be mentioned, which was really interesting, and it revolved around Fury training a group of like second stringers, like the reserves they call them, as people that he's training to possibly replace Captain America if anything happened to him. And it's all like really distilling the fact that only Steve Rogers' biology allows the super soldier serum to work.
Right.
Because they've been testing it on all these people, and they think they have a guy that can, like, maybe take up the mantle, and then it burns him out. And you get this dark look at Fury where he's like, it's a shame, on to the next one. And he just, like, keeps test subjecting these people, and it's like, shit, like, that is the underworld of the Ultimates universe. So yeah, overall, man, if someone was just off the street, like, what's a good Marvel comic to read, and I have no background on it, I would absolutely hand them this. It is just, it's a good, fun, like, topical, quick read, great dialogue, only
introduces
a little dated.
Lot of characters.
Yeah, just a great team book.
Yes. So, that being said, what are your thoughts on the Ultimates Volume 1 and 2?
That's right. Do you want us to take the plunge into Ultimates 3 and Ultimatum?
I'm going to say it right here, I've never read Ultimates 3.
Oh boy. Have you read Ultimatum?
Oh yeah.
Okay.
There was a point where I read it every year thinking like, it's not as bad as I remember.
Yes.
And it absolutely is.
And every time it's worse.
Yeah. So, I might be keen to that. If you
I can do a 1-2 punch of that.
If you want to,
not right now though. We got to give Avengers Endgame and this some time to sit, and then come back and laugh at it.
Oh yes.
Yes.
If you want to see it, let us know down below, and we'll pen it in sometime in the future.
Yep. And then Millar returns to it later on, to varying results.
Yeah.
They never ever achieve the accolade that these two books garner.
And it's too bad because I think it comes on a little late in history where the 616 really has taken a lot of steam, like has a full head of steam at this point, and the new Avengers is set course for like something really great.
Yeah, and I think Millar kind of blew his wad on what he had to say about like the superhuman arms race, and he's very much phoning it in. There's a couple stories that are fun, but they have no statement to make.
Well, he's always got Old Man Logan.
That's right.
So, that'll be it for Ultimates Volume 1 and 2. Let us know what you think down in the comments down below. But, until next time, I have been Short of the Max Extreme.
And I've been Ghost Hunter Dave.
And we've been Imperius Rex. We'll see you next time. Bye-bye.